Two countries are stuck in a rivalry so deep it affects the whole Middle East. This is not just about religion or politics, but years of secret deals, broken promises, and changing sides. They were once friendly, doing business together and shaking hands. Now they threaten each other and launch attacks. How did things get so bad? There is a long, complicated story behind this hate that many people do not know. Let's dig in and find out what really happened. You know what's surprising? Iran and Israel were actually pretty friendly before 1979. Not the kind of best friends who hang out at the beach, but they worked together in secret like spies in an old movie. Back then, Iran was ruled by the Shah, who was pro-Western and very anti-communist. Israel also worried about the Soviet Union and angry Arab neighbors. They both needed allies, so they teamed up quietly. They even had this thing called Project Flower. Sounds nice, right? Except it wasn't about roses. It was a plan to make advanced missiles together. Israel shared the technology, and Iran paid the bills. Talk about splitting the check in a fancy restaurant. And oil? Iran sold it to Israel at a time when almost every other country in the region refused to sell them a drop. It's like selling cookies to the kid no one invited to the party. They also traded intelligence. They both kept an eye on shared enemies and swapped secrets. Not the best friend forever kind of secrets, but the let's stop that country from attacking us kind. All this was happening quietly behind closed doors, away from public speeches. Because publicly supporting Israel was a big no-no in the Muslim world, so they kept it hush-hush. It just shows these two weren't always enemies. In fact, they had years of cooperation, shared goals, and deals that would shock people today. It's a wild part of history that often gets buried, but it helps us see how much things can change when politics and leadership shift. So before 1979, Iran and Israel were working quietly together. It wasn't public, but it worked. Iran sold oil, Israel shared tech, and both kept an eye on the same enemies. But then came the revolution that changed everything. In 1979, millions of Iranians took to the streets, protesting against the Shah. Years of political frustration, religious pushback, and economic stress boiled over. The Shah was forced into exile, and Iran became an Islamic republic led by Ayatollah Khomeini. For Israel, this was a huge blow. One of the few countries in the region it had silent ties with had just flipped, not just politically but ideologically. Iran's new leadership didn't just dislike Israel, they rejected its very existence. Khomeini labeled Israel the Little Satan and the United States the Great Satan. That was Iran's way of saying both were now top enemies. Iran shut down Israel's embassy in Tehran and handed it over to the Palestinian Liberation Organization. That was a bold signal. The message was clear. Iran had now joined the anti-Israel camp and was fully supporting the Palestinian cause. From Israel's side, this created a serious security concern. They had just lost a quiet partner in the region and gained a powerful opponent with a loud voice and growing influence. Iran was no longer a country to trade with. It had become a country that called for the end of Israel as a state. This moment reset the relationship. It moved from quiet cooperation to open hostility, and the consequences of that shift are still unfolding today. After the revolution in Iran, things did not turn into a simple, direct fight with Israel. Instead, both sides chose to fight indirectly in other countries using other groups. This is often called a proxy war. Iran began giving money, weapons, and training to groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. These groups did not just appear for no reason. In 1982, Israel invaded southern Lebanon and laid siege to Beirut. During that invasion, around 15,000 to 20,000 people were killed, including many civilians. The anger and destruction helped give birth to Hezbollah. Their main goal was to force Israel to withdraw. In Gaza, people have lived under Israeli occupation. repeated wars, and a strict blockade that limits food, medicine, and fuel. More than 2 million people are crowded into a small area with limited electricity and clean water. During the 2014 war alone, over 2,200 Palestinians were killed. The United Nations says most of them were civilians. Thousands of homes were destroyed, leaving many families homeless. At the same time, these Iran-backed groups have attacked Israeli towns with rockets. In the 2006 Lebanon war, Hezbollah rockets killed over 40 Israeli civilians and forced about 1 million people into shelters. Israel responded with heavy airstrikes that killed over 1,100 people in Lebanon, many of them civilians, and forced another million people to flee their homes. This proxy war has caused massive suffering on both sides. It is not just a political struggle. It is ordinary people paying the price, losing family members, homes, and any sense of safety. All this fighting through other groups has kept the region on edge for decades. But one issue has taken the fear to a whole new level. That is Iran's nuclear program. Israel sees this as a direct threat to its very survival. Israeli leaders worry that if Iran builds a nuclear bomb, it could wipe Israel off the map with a single strike. They point to statements by some Iranian leaders over the years calling for Israel to disappear. For Israel, this is not just politics. It is life or death. Iran says it does not want a bomb at all. It claims its nuclear program is for peaceful uses like energy and medical research. But Iran has enriched uranium to levels that make many countries nervous. The International Atomic Energy Agency has found Iran going beyond the limits set in past agreements. That has made other countries fear Iran is keeping the option of a weapon on the table. Because of these fears, Israel has not just watched from the sidelines. It has worked in secret to slow Iran's program. The most famous example is the Stuxnet computer virus that badly damaged Iran's nuclear centrifuges. Israel is also widely believed to have been behind the assassinations of several Iranian nuclear scientists in recent years. Both sides see this issue as survival. For Iran, giving up its nuclear program entirely feels like giving up its right to defend itself. For Israel, allowing Iran to have the capability is an unacceptable risk. This is why it is so hard for them to find any middle ground. The fear runs deep on both sides, making compromise nearly impossible. All this fear over nuclear weapons and the years of proxy battles set the stage for something even more dangerous. For a long time, Iran and Israel kept their fight in the shadows. They used spies, cyberattacks, and other groups to hurt each other without open war. But that changed recently. In 2024 and 2025, their long-hidden conflict burst out into the open. Israel carried out strikes on Iranian targets in Syria, saying they were stopping weapons shipments. Iran answered by hitting Israeli diplomatic sites. The back and forth turned into missile and drone attacks that everyone could see. The biggest moment came in June 2025. Israel launched a large operation deep inside Iran. It targeted nuclear facilities and military bases in an attempt to cripple Iran's nuclear program. This was not just a warning shot. It was a clear signal that Israel was willing to strike at the heart of Iran to stop what it sees as an existential threat. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks of its own. The fear now is that this could spiral into a much larger war. No more hiding in the shadows. This is real and open fighting with the potential to draw in other countries and create even more suffering for ordinary people. If you found this video helpful and want to keep exploring these complex issues with clarity and honesty, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing real stories that matter. And as always, we hope and pray for peace, understanding, and a better future for both sides. History was wild. We've got the receipts, people. Oh yeah. The past must be crazy.